Testing, 1 2 1 2 testing. Hi friends, welcome back. The one thing nobody tells you about leveling up in life is that when you actually level up, you lose all your friends. You have no friends and it's really fucking lonely. And while, yes, losing friends can be really good in some respect, they're probably not meant to be your friend if you lose them, but it can be really discouraging when you kind of go through this enlightenment, awakening, quantum leaping, timeline jumping, where you rapidly shift into and step into this new version of yourself. It scares the people around you. And either your old friends have to get to know this new version of you and decide, that it's someone that they want to hang out with, or decide that it's not someone that they want to get to know and therefore drop you as a friend. And then going and making new friends after losing all the people that you held so near and dear to your heart, it's hard to connect with people. Like, you realize that it's not just you. Like, at first, after I did a lot of internal work, like, I broke up with my long-term boyfriend, I self-isolated, I lived with girls that I didn't really know deeply, like, we weren't really friends, we didn't really hang out. And I was studying for the LSAT. I was locked in and going to therapy for the first time. I was doing a whole lot of internal work. And so then when I came out of that like hermit cocoon mode, I was an entirely different person. And I thought it was going to be easier making friends and connecting with people because I had worked on all the shit that was preventing me in the past from stepping outside of my shell and talking to people and socializing and making friends. Well, once you do that internal work and you become this more radiant version of yourself, you really only want to make friends with other people that have also done the same amount of work and are similarly radiant people. Because like, if I invest months, years of my life into good healthy habits, paying for a therapist, doing the emotional work, crying, journaling, meditating, doing all the things that it takes to reinvent yourself and heal your trauma and become a better version of yourself, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of time and a lot of commitment that I'm not just going to throw out the window to be friends with someone, to have someone to share some time and space with. And I feel like through the healing journey, this is something that I grapple with from time to time, because I feel like at the beginning of my isolation phase, after I had broken up with my ex-boyfriend, I was like, fuck this, I don't need anyone. I'm happy on my own. And then a month went by of having nobody text me, having nobody to text, nobody to hang out with, nobody to have a conversation with other than the Starbucks barista. I went insane. And I was crying to my therapist all the time, like, I need friends, I want friends, I'm so lonely, this is so sad. Because I had not nourished and like stayed on top of my friendships and connections before going into my relationship. But regardless, I went through this period where I was like, oh, I don't need anyone. And then all of a sudden I was super lonely and I was like, wait a second. We're social creatures. We need human connection to survive. So weird. And so then cried to my therapist, journaled about it, manifested friends into my life, and some of them were great, fabulous, and others kind of came as a reminder as to why I didn't have any friends to begin with. And I still get that to date, like even with starting this new program, moving out to Victoria, being on the West Coast, being on the island, like I heard so much about Victoria being so liberal and progressive and everyone's really positive and welcoming and friendly and doing that internal work on their meditation shit, on their therapy shit. And don't get me wrong, that is the general vibe, but law school is still law school. And a lot of these kids are still really young and really early on in their journey and figuring out a lot of stuff. And that's going to be the case no matter how old you are, I think, or where in this world that you go. Everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's dealing with their own shit. And while the island may be more liberal and progressive, I think in terms of the general population, most people haven't done the internal work that they need to do to live their happiest, fullest, most abundant, vibrant, radiant life. And even the people that are doing that work are doing the internal work may not be at the same level as you. They may be way farther down the line where they're too deep where you can't connect with them, or they're too shallow, they just got started and you can't connect with them. And the thing about people is that you can only connect with them as deeply as they've connected with themselves. And so if you personally go in really deep, you do a lot of introspection and a lot of work, it's going to be a mission to find other people who have done the same amount of work and want to connect with you on that level. But I think the most common piece with most people is that they haven't done the work and they don't want to do the work, and they might not ever do the work in this lifetime. And so that's why some friendships will just never work. As hard as you try to make them work, as hard as you try to make a connection with someone or, re-foster a relationship, it's just not going to work because you're an entirely different person. And that person is never going to do what it takes to get on the wavelength where you two can genuinely connect. And even when you find people that seem like they genuinely want to connect, it's a mission unraveling people's facades, because people haven't gone deeply enough in themselves. They haven't done enough inner work to even know maybe what their motives or intentions are behind becoming friends with someone. Like, because they operate at such a surface level frequency, they may think, oh, I want to be friends with this person because I think they're cool and I think they're fun, or I like their style, or they're really inspiring, whatever. That might be surface level, okay? But deeper, on a more subconscious level that they don't even realize, they might want to be friends with you because they want to be you, because they want to copy you, because they want to have what you have and hope that somehow it can translate from your life into their life through osmosis of some kind. They're not interested in learning from you. They're not interested in doing the work that you've done. They're not interested in connecting with you on that deep level. They're just looking for a shortcut. They're looking for a way to have what you have without doing any of the work. And it's hard because these people will pretend like they're down to do the work. They'll pretend like they know exactly what you're talking about and they've done so much research and they're on the same wavelength in every single way. Yet, they'll say certain things, they'll do certain things where you catch them in a lie, where you're like, wait a minute, you said you don't have substance abuse issues, yet your front seat is filled with empty beer cans. You're a fucking liar. You don't care about self-growth. You don't care about self-development. You're a liar, you're a poser, and you're just trying to be friends with me because you think this is the cool thing to do. Because you think this is what you're supposed to do. Like, I've gotten that sense from so many people, especially out west. I feel like there's some people where, like, granola girl, granola guy, that's their genuine lifestyle, and they love that shit. They grew up on the island, they're camp kids, that's who they are as a human being. But then there's other people that will kind of, like, front that, put that on as a facade to, like, flex that they're, I'm a Gore-Tex guy, I'm, living off the land, I love Mother Earth, Mother Nature, yet when it comes to, like, actually talking about therapy or journaling or changing perspectives, anything in terms of, like, action, they can't speak. They can't speak to the topic. They have to change the topic of conversation, and you can tell that they will get really uncomfortable and just, like, not want to talk about it. And so you kind of, when you do all this work on yourself, it's like this added burden of having to wade through people and their shit to figure out, is this really who you are? Is this a facade? Are you just trying to be friends with me because you think there's something I have to offer? Most people have not gone deep enough to even know what their genuine true intentions are. And so then you have to forge these new relationships solely off of vibes, off of the fact that your frequency changed, off of the fact that I noticed you got really anxious when I said that. I noticed you started fidgeting. You got really uncomfortable. You changed the topic. You didn't didn't want to discuss that, literally fled the restaurant when said topic of conversation came up. Like, there's certain things where you just got to pick up on them and file them away in the filing cabinet of information about people, because I think people can sense when you operate on a high frequency and when you have this telepathic gift in a way where you can sense what people are thinking, you can sense what they're feeling. And I think others can be aware of that sometimes, and it makes them uncomfortable because it feels like you're reading their mind in a way. And I've experienced this personally with other people where I'm like, damn, you're tapped in like that. You've done that inner work. You know the inner workings. You know what I'm thinking. And you kind of have to do that with new people and new relationships after you go through this period of leveling up. There's some people where you'll instantly know that their intentions are pure and you don't have to worry about their motives behind being your friend. But then there's other people where it kind of has to stay surface level to protect yourself. Because there's a lot of really evil people and evil energy out there where if you're too good, you're too nice to someone that isn't ready for that isn't ready to handle that magnitude of love, they will take it and twist it and manipulate it, and it's really not good. It's really not fun. So be careful. Be careful who you share your energy with. And like, don't get me wrong, surface level friendships and relationships are great for a purpose. They definitely serve a purpose in society. Like, we think about frats and sororities where people are literally paying for lifelong business relationships that they want to label as lifelong friendships. I'm sorry, that's not friendship when you're going into something with the intention that you're going to get some monetary, career-based value out of said relationship. That's fake. That's a business connection. That's surface level. And unfortunately, that's the way majority of society operates. But luckily enough, there are a handful of people that have done the internal work and are capable of having deep, genuine friendships and relationships. I'll never forget what one of my friends said to me. Within the first month of school, I was talking about how I was having a really hard time, like, connecting with one of the girls in our cohort, saying, like, it just seems really surface level, like, I just can't seem to have a genuine connection with them, and was just kind of expressing some frustration that I had with forging this connection with someone that I thought I anticipated I would be really good friends with. And she, my friend, who I immediately had a deep connection with right off of the bat, and because she's done the internal work, she said, well, if she is only capable and only wanting to have a surface level relationship with you, then just focus on having that. Like, that's way easier to maintain than a real, genuine, deep friendship. And that kind of rocked my world. And I think about that a lot now from time to time. Because yeah, surface level friendships and relationships are so easy. And they're so easy to maintain when you maintain perspective that that's all they are. They're only surface level. They're surface level people, surface level relationships, and you can kind of maintain that friendship and relationship with the expectation that it doesn't have to go deeper. You don't have to expect a ton out of them. You're not going to be calling them, texting them to take you to the airport, to pick you up from the doctor's office. You don't have to expect to be buying them presents for holidays or birthdays. It's chill. It's surface level. And it takes a lot of the pressure and stress and expectation off your back. Someone who I'm sure has a really big heart and has a big capacity for deep, loving, genuine relationships. Don't waste that capacity on people that aren't able to appreciate it. Save it for the people that have done the internal work themselves. People who have already leveled up. People who vibrate at the frequency that you vibrate at. And people where the love and energy is going to be easily and equally reciprocated. Now, if you're someone that has a really big capacity to love others and you have a big capacity for holding a lot of space and acceptance for people, and you only seem to have surface level relationships in your life, you can't seem to find any real genuine connections, don't lose faith. Don't Don't waste that big capacity on low capacity people. Invest that large capacity for love into yourself, into spending time with yourself, loving yourself, and being your own friend in the way that you want other people to be your friend. It kind of makes me think of the saying, if you don't know how to love yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? Meaning, like, if you don't know what your love language is, if you don't know what makes you feel most loved, if you don't know how to cheer yourself up or regulate your emotions, take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, how can you expect someone else, some random person, to just intuitively know what those needs of yours are and then be a cure-all fix to them? Like, no, it's not a reasonable expectation to have of partners or friendships or relationships. Yet I think it's something that society has this fucked up belief about, that like, if you find a boyfriend, all your problems will be solved. All you need to do is find a man, get married, have kids, work your 9 to 5, and your life is blessed. Like, no, that's not the life I want to live. And it's not a guarantee to a happy life. In my opinion, it's a guarantee to a fucking miserable life, but to each their own. Most of the things that are so deeply connected to who you are as a person, you might not even be aware of. You might not have even gone deep enough in yourself to realize that that's what makes you you and what makes you so cool and unique. You know, like, what form of exercise is your favorite? What fills your cup? What is your creative outlet? What are your passions, your values, your interests? These are the things that you discover when you go inwards and you reflect on yourself and you do that inner work. And then the people that don't do the inner work don't have that entire arsenal of information about themselves to use in conversation with other people, to use in fostering new friendships and relationships. And so when you, as a person who has done all the inner work, who has leveled up, comes into a new situation, new environment, tries to make these new relationships with all of this knowledge about yourself, and you're connecting with a bunch of people that don't have any knowledge about themselves. They have nothing of equal importance or value to bring to the table in terms of creating a friendship or relationship. Like, when you do the inner work on yourself, you have this whole toolbox, this whole toolkit of skills that you use to regulate your emotions, to live your best life. And when you're trying to connect with people that don't have any tools in their toolbox, the only tools they have is a rum and coke and their vape, you're gonna have nothing to talk about. Nothing of substance, at least. And so every single person that you try to make a connection with, have a friendship with, there's going to be a disconnect. No matter how hard you try, you're never going to truly feel like their friend. You're never going to truly feel like they get you or you get them, because you don't. They don't even get themselves. You just got yourself. Like, you just started to figure out yourself. So, of course, not everyone is going to be at the same point in time as you, at the same stage in their healing journey and their soul's lifetime. And like, if you know anything about spirituality and souls and reincarnation and stuff, you probably know that there's different stages in which a soul comes to this earth on. And so there's tons of beginner souls, tons of intermediate souls, tons of advanced souls. And that's just kind of the luck of the draw with what soul you get given coming into this life. And some beginner souls, most beginner souls, probably won't ever be at the same level as an advanced or intermediate soul in the same lifetime, especially for a long, continuous, consistent time period of said lifetime. So if you're feeling lost in your healing journey because you have no friends, you have nobody that's on the same wavelength as you, nobody that really seems to understand you, everyone you talk to about your healing journey seems to think that you're crazy and you're losing it, I know that can be very discouraging, and it can make you doubt your process. It can make you doubt your growth and the way in which you went about your healing journey. It can make you doubt if you're going about this whole thing wrong or not. Because I think going into the healing journey, your expectation is that life is going to be easier and you're going to struggle a lot less with things. You're going to be so much more confident, so much more easy to make friends. And then you make that quantum leap, you become that new person, and that's not at all the way that it is. If anything, life is harder, you just are stronger and have more tools to get through those difficult periods, like periods of isolation where you can't seem to connect with anyone on a deep, spiritual, valuable level. And I know society and media can push this idea onto us that, like, if you don't have a best friend, if you don't have any friends, if you aren't in a big friend group, then you're not worth having friends. You're not cool enough to have a lot of friends. You're not likable enough. And I honestly would like to challenge that preconception and say that if you're having a hard time making friends with people, it's probably because you're too cool. It's probably because you're too smart, you're too intuitive, you're too kind, too selfless, too disciplined, too hardworking. You're too much of all the amazing, fabulous, wonderful things that most people wish they could even be a fraction of. You're too much of all of those things, and therefore, majority of the population chooses to opt out of engaging with you because it's easier and more comfortable for them to stay in their little hole, stay in their little rut, stay in their tiny little circle of life where they don't have to change anything. They don't have to better themselves. They don't have to challenge themselves. And they don't have to level up like you. They don't have to do the hard work. And instead of doing the hard work and surrounding themselves with people like you who do the hard work and can motivate them to do the hard work, they surround themselves with other like-minded individuals who make them feel better about being lazy and being stupid and not having any discipline, not wanting to get up off of their asses and do some real fucking work. That's why you have a really hard time making friends. Because you unconsciously, subconsciously trigger majority of the population. You trigger the low vibrational version of them into wanting to be the higher vibration version of them, but not wanting to do the work. You know the saying, misery loves company? That's why most miserable people and men who peaked in high school feel the need to surround themselves with lots of homies, lots of girls and guys who haven't changed in the last 5-10 years. They're 23 and they're the same person that they were when they were 15 or 16. When you don't want to change, the easiest way to get comfortable with not changing is to surround yourself with a bunch of people that make it seem like it's okay to not change. To confirm that belief that it's okay to peak in high school. It's okay to not work on yourself. It's okay to still be an asshole and to hate yourself and to hate your life. That is A-okay. That's what majority of the population wants because that's comfortable. It's familiar. It's known. And in their little pea-sized brains, it's somehow easier than doing the hard work to actually level up and become a better person and to not need vices and coping mechanisms to get through your day-to-day activities. So maybe if you're having a hard time making deep, real connections with the people around you, take that as a sign that you're on the right track. Take that as a sign that you're going so deep that the people around you just can't catch up. You're developing and growing at a pace so fast that you're outgrowing every single friendship and connection that you make. You are vibrating at a high frequency, so keep going, because slowing down your pace for the people around you isn't going to get you to your destination faster. It's going to slow you down. It's going to aggravate you and irritate you, and you're going to end up resenting the people around you that you chose to allow drag you down and slow you down. And they don't deserve that because they're really just doing the best that they can. But you not doing the best that you can, you not listening to your intuition, you not following your feelings and cutting off those people when you know it's damn good time to cut them off, it's only harming you. It's only damaging your soul's process of development. Nobody else's. Because the sooner that you move on with your shit, the sooner that you address the work that you need to address, the sooner everyone else can around you. Because with self-growth and self-work and self-development, the more work you do on yourself, the more you grow, and the more that disconnect grows between you and past relationships, people that you used to be friends with. As that distance and that separation, that disconnect grows, so does the cue to those people that are watching, to those people that you cut off, that they need to change, that they need to watch what you did and make some changes. Because regardless of whether you have friends or not, when you do the inner work, when you level up, when you vibrate on a high frequency, your existence, just you existing, you being yourself, you doing your thing, subconsciously triggers the people around you. Your existence, your confidence, your authenticity, your contentment and lack of anxiety and depression and just low vibrational vibes, that acts as a mirror to everyone around you that's struggling with all of those things. The people that are highly anxious, highly depressed, self-conscious, lack confidence, they look at you and they see everything that they aren't. They see everything that they want to be, everything that they wish they could be. And you just sitting there, you just existing, being yourself, vibing at your high frequency triggers those low vibrational people. And a lot of people will resent you because of it, and they won't even know why they hate you, why they don't like you. And at a subconscious level, it's because you are an embodiment, a physical reminder of the fact that they're not enough, that they don't like themselves. They actually hate themselves, and they hate their lives, and they're unhappy, and they're anxious, and they're stressed, and they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to be anything but that. And then you walk around like this little angel, this little fairy, this little perfect glowing embodiment of everything that they wish they were. Of course they're gonna hate you. Of course they're gonna resent you and try and make you out to be the villain, because of course that's what keeps them in their comfortable little bubble of playing the victim mentality and brainwashing themselves into thinking that they don't need to grow, they don't need to work hard, they don't need to prioritize self-development. Yet, at the end of the day, when their soul gets to that point where it's time to change, it's time to quantum leap, it's time to go inwards and level up, they're gonna look to you. They're gonna look to all those people that triggered them in the past and be like, ooh, they triggered me because I want that. They triggered me because that's what I need in my life. That's what I need to be working towards. When the low vibrational souls get to the point in their journey where they want to elevate their frequency, they will look to the souls like you who have done the inner work. And now I know you're not doing this work for anyone else. You're doing it for your own soul's development. But just know that no matter how hard you work, no matter how much growth and strength you accumulate, you're always going to be triggering people. There's always going to be people that aren't going to like you, and they're not going to know why. And that's not your shit to worry about. That's their stuff to work through. Yet at the end of the day, it's amazing to be able to know and sense and appreciate that you just existing, you just living your best life, while yes, it does trigger people, it at the same time inspires people and motivates people to work on themselves, to go inwards, to prioritize themselves and become a better version of themselves. Which then in turn makes this world a better place to live in. A better place for you to grow up in, grow old in. A better place for your kids to grow up in and your grandkids. It's all cyclical. Friends that you may not feel connected to now may end up doing the work later down the road, 5, 10, 20 years, and you may reconnect with them and be amazing friends. And then there's other friends where they'll serve their purpose in your life and you will never hear or see from them again. And that's okay too, because like I've said multiple times in this video, our souls are all on their own individual journey. And all that means for us is to focus on what our own individual souls need to develop, because that then in turn helps all souls develop into being the best versions of themselves. More enlightened, empowered, inspired, motivated versions of past versions of our souls. Now, the fact that there is a bright side to all of this isolation in your growing phase, it isn't to discredit how hard this isolation phase can be. Because it's really fucking hard. Especially when the only piece of advice I have for you is to stick it out. Is to become your best friend, date yourself, enjoy your own company, and don't worry so much about what other people think. Not depend so much on connection with other people to feel happy and proud of yourself and accomplished and successful, because everything that you need, everything that you seek in this life, you already have. It's all within you. It's all within you. It's just a matter of finding it, just a matter of discovering it. And I guarantee you, if you're in a period of isolation right now where it is impossible to make real, deep, meaningful connections and relationships with people, it's probably because that's not what you need right now. It's probably because that's not a part of your journey. That's not a part of what your soul needs to grow and develop. And as much as you try to fight it, as much as you try to fight the urge to isolate and to go inwards, this timeline is a loop. If it passes you, if it misses you on one occasion, it's coming back around, and it's coming back around harder, where you're not gonna miss it the second time or the third time or the fourth time. It just grows in magnitude and force in which the message comes back until you actually get it and understand it. And so if that message is to self-isolate, if that message is to go inward and to not have friends, to focus on you, the universe will bring that message back to you in many different forms until you get it. I had to leave a bar crying. After going out, I went to the bar, sat down, got a table. The friends I went there with ditched me, and I sat there for 30 minutes alone, blowing up their phone. And it got to the point where I literally left the bar and walked home crying. Crying. Because I went out with that friend knowing that that's what the night was going to look like. And that was not the kind of night that I wanted or needed. But that was the only friend that I had at the time. And so I ignored my intuition and I said, fuck it, we'll go out, we'll have fun, it'll be fine. 20, 30 minutes go by and I'm crying, walking home alone, getting frozen yogurt by myself. That was the final message from the universe at that time that told me to stop going out with friends, to stop hitting the bars, to stop drinking socially. That was the last message that I needed to receive from the universe for me to get the message that I need to stay the fuck home, that I need to focus on myself and stop wasting my time on superficial, meaningless friendships and relationships and bar conversations. And then from that point on, every single interaction that I had responding to that insight, internal feeling of internal knowingness of not going out to the bars, anytime I would act on that boundary and my friends or relationships wouldn't respond positively to that boundary setting, that would be a confirmation to me that I made the right choice. I'm on the right track. This boundary was healthy and needed, and it's simply triggering whoever it's affecting. You know, like the friends that wanted someone to go out with and then had nobody to go out with because I then decided that it was in my best interest to stay home. The people that don't care about you won't respect those boundaries. The people that do genuinely care about you and want the best for you are going to support those boundaries. And in going through the ebbs and flows of isolation and trying to connect with people, the universe will give you road signs and roadblocks to tell you the type of friends that are for you and the type of friends that are not for you. It's like that saying, the people that matter won't mind, and the people that mind won't matter. And I think that's a really helpful saying to use to navigate creating and fostering new friendships and relationships. Because a lot of the times it's hard to differentiate whether it's their stuff or your stuff, whether you're actually in the wrong or they're just projecting and they have their own issues that they don't know how to deal with. While yes, it can be so isolating working on yourself and leveling up, it's so worth it in the end. Because when you do the inner work, when you go inwards and you level up, all you're left with is business, surface level relationships, and deep, meaningful, true, genuine friendships and relationships, instead of just or only surface level friendships and relationships. As isolating as the journey of self-growth and self-development can be, at the end of the day, you see who's real and who really fucks with you and who really doesn't. And you see who really has their shit together as much as they say they do. And then you get to make some of the most amazing friendships and relationships ever. Like, better than I could have ever even imagined possible. So, with that, I hope this can give you some new perspective into your isolation period during your self-growth, self-development, inner work, healing journey process. Yeah, all in all, hope this made sense. Hope this helped. Thank you so much for watching. Love you. Bye.